we? We are brought up like any children. We go to church, we say, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt love thy neighbor like the Lord has loved us, so help us God, and so on and so on. So we are first and foremost well brought up human beings. Just look at me. I look very good as a person. They're well brought up. So every action creates a response. What people are not used to is the response. Let me just go back. When Nioma said, white people must be hammered on the heads. Yeah. Nobody said he went too far, or very few people. When he said some other political party leader had anal sex with the British, I'm paraphrasing, people were laughing. When songs are made by Swaatboi, cut off the tails of others and so on and so forth. You guys of NBC, you don't make documentaries about structural violence, and Galton's theory talks about that. Structural violence, selective morality, and so on. NBC glorifies, and now you are screening events at night, how Nioma returned, and wow, the glorious past. In that glorious past,
yes,
people were alleged to have been spies. None of them was proven. None of them. People say we are disrespectful. Swaatboi, in exile, used young boys to unclothe and undress 80-year-old men. I will not give you the name. Naked. Women also. Sometimes the women were asking, don't you have mothers? Young boys were unclothing those in dungeons. And we have testimony of people that are alive. And they asked, don't you respect us? Some of those young boys
here it
are
would be just like this, or the
leaders
format would be like this one.
I don't
in
know.
government.
That's why I want.
Some of them
to
are rich people today. Respect for human dignity. Swaatboi has not had it. Utoni has been insulting Nico Smith. Swaatboi, the other day, Pohamba Shifeta said that what is DTA is a conglomeration of puppets. They still use that language. We don't have problems with people that are more meatish on the outside. We love our people, all of them. But in a political argument that is derailed by foolish elements, we have to pay you back kindly, Papa. We have to pay you back kindly. Because Swaatboi had the monopoly of insults and people were laughing. State of the Nations, Sam and others would insult political leaders. They were not given that treatment back.
Journalists are insulted.
Journalists are insulted. You people are also insulted.
Exactly. By the president.
But you are not talking about this thing. You are zooming in so much on the conduct of LPM. On the issue of insults, you see, any intellectual discussion is an insult to Swaatboi because the brain capacity is not there. So when we say strategic income was brought in to test their ability to articulate this issue on a policy decision that they have themselves initiated. They couldn't articulate and defend and advance their own policy initiative. And the idea was to demonstrate how weak they actually are. In that discussion, we showed them that the models that you have used are the same failed models as was used in Zimbabwe. Many of them didn't know these models. We have also demonstrated to them that there is actually no policy. You should have seen the people of the library there at Parliament, how they were shocked at Swaatboi members of Parliament running to the library there, asking for a written policy on national reconciliation. They didn't know. They said, where is it in the Constitution? Go to the preamble and other things we told them. So the strategy is to improve the quality and the content of our arguments, to demonstrate a narrative that the ability to lead and transform society
So
no
all
longer
this
rests
should
with Swaatboi.
should be out.
Yeah.
In fact, it never really did rest with Swaatboi. It's also to demonstrate that numbers don't determine quality and ability to transform society. And their own Swaatboi people came to our office and said, we have 63, but maybe only 10 or 20 of us are able to give some sort of a contribution. And that came from a former deputy minister who said that numbers don't matter. And we are demonstrating that numbers don't matter. in the larger scheme of things, when ideas have to be tested and ideas have to be generated and ideas have to be promulgated and society has to be transformed, it really doesn't matter about numbers. Just like Helen Suzman, as a Lone Ranger parliamentarian in South Africa, kept the fight alone but with substance in South Africa. We have shown that with 4 people, you can already make significant impact. The third, basically, is to create a buffer of mutual defense and mutual reinforcement between opposition parties and alternative parties, such that we would not allow
Go down so that they can.
any member
the date
of
for today.
PDM to be
Yeah, put the date for today.
personally, morally, ethically, and politically. We will not. We are there to defend and reinforce each other, because the common enemy is inequality, poverty, unemployment, Swapo, corruption. Those are the 5 challenges that we have. So we are, as part of the strategy, therefore, reinforcing a collective ability
Something which is not.
through the unwritten but
But this one is
well executed parliamentary coalition system that we have been able through the past 2 months to constitute. And it's a challenge because there are at least 2 opposition
Cannot be
parties
there.
that are basically cowards.
This one is a
They are
statement.
cowards. They don't attend meetings. They are never there.
You want to name it?
Well, no. You don't body shame opposition parties. So that is the strategy. The additional point that we must also be making is to show Swapo
So all
that
this,
the element of fear that they
this
have
one,
had a monopoly over doesn't
wait.
exist anymore.
This one which
We
was
don't
there,
fear
was-
them.
This one.
We are not afraid of them
It can be-
either
it
from
can be
afar
there.
or from a near,
After you move this
and that we are
reference.
unable to see any quality that they represent
Yeah,
they
after
represent the
you
worst.
can see ours, yeah.
in society, in any society.
one-
Swapo is the ZANU PF equivalent of Namibia, and they just don't deserve anything ordinary
this here
to be
will move it.
respected for. There are things that we are going to do when we take over
I think this
power.
one is to come.
One of the first things is that we are going to expropriate the Swapo party building. Let them build it. They will build it. They are building. We are watching it carefully. We want to build them to build a very good office. Very nice. Because we have said that that office of Swapo will expropriate it and create a new University of Katatura for our young people there. It will be a brand new university. So we thank Swapo for constructing a nice university building. We will reduce them to some sort of kaya there, in some sort of area, because they are going to be a small political party, maybe 1 or 2 seats in the next elections. So the strategy is to, at the end of the day, Kelvin, represent our people with dignity, with strength, with character, with charisma, with consistency. It's important. There are other people, Kelvin, you would know, all of you,
Section.
that appear like a what is a spring can? Like a locust. When the rains are good, the grass has come out, that politician appears. When elections are over, that politician disappears. Where is that politician now? We are not like that politician who appears because there is an election, you want one particular position, and when you lose, you also disappear, that other politician. We are not like that. We are a consistent bunch of people, because inequality, poverty, and unemployment have been consistent challenges in our society, and we are for our young people who have suffered for so long. We have asked a meeting with President Gottfried. We are waiting for a response. We have said that the issue of basic income grant, the issue of Osengier, the water issues of Okamatapati and Okakarara and all over, even in the north, the canals there, the way in which NEM water is just suppressing our people. All of these things we want to go and discuss with the president,
so
including
this one is
this new
the other
economic
CRO should be
empowerment
go out.
framework policy
CRO.
law that they have, that is basically aimed for the elite to take
That's what I mean of
shares
Platon
in white businesses. We don't support it.
based.
We don't support it. If it's empowerment, it must be empowerment. not for elite
Just to end
capture
up
of private sector resources now. Yeah, I hope I've answered you. All right. The next set of
Members were
questions.
charged
The next
with-
set of questions.
Listen.
My name is Weston, One Africa TV. Seeing the fact that you guys have been in Parliament for past 4 months,
Members were charged with Section 46 of the Defense Act, and they are already appeared for
that story of
before the
John
commanding
Matola
office of
becoming
261 Battalion.
do you think as LPM
Yeah.
John Matola would have been a better fit to lead us people?
No Swapo deserves to be speaker. Club.
Conduct
Finish and club. They don't even deserve to be in government. All of them. None. None. It's over. Game over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Emma, just my last question.
for conduct. This
I might
seat
have
for
mentioned
conduct.
earlier for the pronounced this stuff. I would just like to find out because it's
Yeah,
a very hot debate right now nationally. What is
Abortion.
LPM stand on abortion?
Therefore, I would like to inform
Okay,
the
I've
good
mentioned
office.
maybe you can refer to the things that they've already pronounced.
It's a very important issue. It's an important issue. Let us be honest with you.
Must not arise that the abortion is still under investigation with
We have
Provost
a
section
policy
done.
conference that is coming that will discuss all of those things. We have, as part of this process, yesterday convened some lawyers and some professors at our own initiative. Yesterday, Professor Yao and Benjia Pluta, and some activists. Yesterday, it was chaired by leader Zana Kohima to filter the issues. There are difficulties. The issue is very sensitive, and women are forced to go and abort their children in ways that are very damaging to the uterus and to the ability to get additional or children eventually. There is a lot of stigmatization of women who abort. So there are fundamental problems, and the move of the motion must be commended for bringing this matter to the forefront. There is, of course, a lot of other arguments that require us not just to focus on the consequence of the outcomes of social evils, but which will be eventually to abort. That is the consequence. Or we'll have to go back and debate as part of that structural problems within society that lead, for instance, to unwanted pregnancies, that therefore lead to the need for abortion and so on and so forth. So it's a multidimensional issue that goes and looks at what has happened to African culture. Why is it that people want to abort? But you'll also have to ask, but how are we dealing with trauma and stress of a mother that is carrying a child and she doesn't want this child? It again goes back to, but how do people go and engage in, for instance, I'm not saying that's the case all the time, but for instance, in unwanted sex? What do we say about sex before marriage and so on and so forth? It's something that we cannot decide in one day. So what we have said is that we will have our policy conference sometime in August, September, and we are going to work out all of those issues very carefully. So our opinion now on the abortion issue is, let's discuss it. Give us an opportunity to discuss the issue, discuss it thoroughly, and once we give our stance to the nation, it is something well debated, well articulated, that will have to stand the test of time. There are ways and institutional changes that will have to be made. But our problem would be that if the debate only comes and focuses on abortion, that's our problem. That's our problem. You can't deal with social problems at the point of the consequence of so many other things that have gone wrong. You have to put the debate back and bring it in perspective and address structural challenges, correct those structural challenges, and therefore perhaps you may not need to come here at the point of do we abort, do we not abort, and so on. Of course, there are medical grounds that the law currently allows for abortion. I mean, it's also a question of do we protect the secular state? Because some of the arguments against abortion are very religiously rooted. But the state is secular. How do you deal with that matter? You have this question of access. So many tests have to be done, for instance, to verify whether to abort or not. But Someone was asking, should men be the ones speaking about abortion? Those are also issues. You don't carry the child, the fetus. Should you be the ones talking about it?
Okay,
Is it correct for that person to approach it like that? There are other issues. What about the rights of women? Why is it a problem that the rights of women to decide on their lives is being either ridiculed or diminished and so on? So the policy conference release, Emil, will help us to filter through all of this. We want to take a very, very thorough view, as we always do about issues. We are not these political parties where the leader of the party just makes a comment and therefore people decide that that's the policy decision. We have to iron out things at a higher level of insult, which is for Swaatboi intellect. Insult is equal to intellect for Swaatboi. At a higher level to deal with these things. Yeah, we are done, huh?
I think so, yeah.
Mumbu, today you're not asking. You're not asking. Well, thank you, those of you that have come. It's a new day. Just check carefully. NBC, just check carefully. There is no more sleep for the old Swaatboi Kapal, criminal Kapal. There's no more sleep. There shouldn't be sleep. They wanted to switch off NBC, but they are also pressed by that issue. But we will also say thank you to those of you that are covering things nicely. Yeah, and so on. Yeah, Mumbu, you are late. You are late, Mumbu, man.
I came in a bit late.
You're always late.
Always? Yeah, not always. No, the invite we received said you guys were in Parliament and then I had to be there.
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry, Mumbu.
In any case, I think
It's not true. It's not true.
Then, one of the words that keeps popping up in every conversation is to say no. You are an angry person.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I want you to respond to that. The way you, perhaps, according to some people, how you conduct yourself. You are an angry person when you see Tony Nioma, you just want to fight.
Yeah. We are very happy.
Yeah, so maybe like you need anger management courses or yeah, maybe can you address that? And then perhaps your comments on the founding president. When you stand here right now, what do you on your mind throughout? His contribution to the liberation struggle, him being our president for 15 years, and all that.
Yeah. Well, these guys were close to Jonas Savimbi, but they abandoned Savimbi and they are telling another story. These guys were involved in Kasinga. There's another story told about Kasinga. These guys created Lubango, saying people are spies, and today they have provided no evidence of who the spies were and so on. Oevo and others have written books about it. None of them have challenged that. And our opinion of Nioma is as low as can be. I don't know how people want to impose biology on us. How do you call somebody father of the nation? It means he has done what now? My father is in Ketmasop, your father is where he is, his father is where he is, his father is where he is, father of the nation. As if Nioma founded this nation. So where was this father that when people were killed, the genocide question, and where was this father?
Exactly.
Where's this father, so-called father, when land issues are spoken of? He's quiet, his son,
Housing crisis.
who is supposed to be our brother, Utoni, says that we are going to deal with those that want land as we dealt with apartheid and so on. So Nioma is a nothing and nobody for us. He represents nothing that we like. He is nothing that we like. He is a nobody. He is somebody who is a qualified nothing. We have no respect for him. He was part of the commencement of the mismanagement of the resources of this state. He has been the one that started to create black on black division. He's been the one that has basically continued to serve the interests of the imperialist forces which at times he apparently would condemn. He is the one that has basically divided our society. He is the one that, and as we are speaking now, they are trying to bring destruction to Nudo by planting military forces, military bases in Omaheke, additional in Amanus and so on for the next election. We got it from inside that they want to bring at least 5,000 soldiers into the Amanus area so that Nudo does not have sufficient support there. That is Nyoma's legacy. Division, hatred, arrogance, unrepentance, lack of respect for different views and opinions. And if we thought that Nyoma in retirement is a better man when he was in government, we were so mistaken. Him and Lucas Hifikepunye Bohamba, who couldn't write until a later stage, was illiterate until a later stage, came from the north and said to our people that you are not going to, those of you that talk of land, ancestral land, forget it. You're not going to get your land back. Why should we respect this person? You know, Swapo thinks that we must respect their leaders. And they think that their version is a version that must be the only one. Many of the things that we spoke about Mumbu, the things we said about Nyoma, was in the context of a political discussion in Parliament. If our PC and you don't agree with it, bring your version. It's a political debate.
Bring facts.
Bring your facts to the table, and we live side by side, disagreeing on the narrative, but we are still citizens. We still cooperate where we need to be.
Yeah.
But Swapo wants so much to impose their version. If tomorrow they identify a cockroach as a national hero, we must also now glorify a cockroach, a jackal, as a national hero. I think that is the problem, the cognitive inability for them to distinguish how times have moved and how narratives are being unbundled and dismantled, and that other members of society have become brave enough to talk about their own different narratives and their own perspectives in front of them, because they wanted so much for the truth to be hidden all the time. And they can't face it. They are tormented by our presence and by our utterances there. And at the time of the tormentation of Swapo, they have lost moral high ground, moral political authority. They are beginning to lose political space very fast. They are losing that political space. That is why they brought in a very dirty guy, Vilo, to be Minister of Defense. This chap thinks he can intimidate people. My friend, be careful. Be careful. That's nonsense that Jerry was talking about Caspers and so on. He's also, of course, a spent force, a kanjo. And when he was speaking about things, and of course it's very late, about how people in Gibeon, Isaacs and so on, he knows them about Swapo. When independence came, Ekanjo decided to be such a ultra Swapo, forgetting people that played a role in his life in Gibeon. Now, afterward, he wants to now say, yeah, Isaacs, I know the parents, the family is all Swapo and so on. And then when we said, yeah, you must speak like that, he said, I'm Swapo comrade. So we are going to be very funny with Ekanjo also. He must get it. It's coming for him. Ekanjo, how useless he was as a youth minister, how pathetic his political campaign was, how rubbish his outlook was on post-independent Namibia. And now you can see he has not even updated any knowledge. He tries like some sort of a Brenda Fassie 1986 gazette to replay, futile of course exercise, replay event by event, location by location, the issues that apparently transpire. We are past that stage. What is Ekanjo's contribution to development? Of course, when I was governor, he played a very key role, I must say, to have me appointed there, Jerry Ekanjo. He played a key role in some development programs. He really also played a key role. But that's not it, Papa. Here we are talking of the nation. You were there to have Swaatboi as a governor. Thank you very much, Jerry Ekanjo. We appreciate it. Okay, fine. Chapter is over. What do you do now? So, on this thing of anger, Utara is telling me a very nice response that 30 years of mismanagement can't be dealt with by a smile. So I must say, we have poverty, unemployment, inequality. We must address these issues so that at the end of the day, our people can get jobs. And therefore, you are stealing resources. You have, honestly.
Truly.
Should we do it? Then we are comedians, man. Mumbu, please. We have serious issues to deal with. We have serious focus to maintain on the issue. Swapo, having lost the game of arguments, the Game of Thrones, things, disrespect, anger. Disrespect, anger. I have righteous anger, but I'm so much at peace when young people keep on supporting. When more and more Namibians are opening their eyes, we are happy. When more and more Namibians recognize what we stand for, when more and more Namibians eventually say, okay, so you guys are fighting corruption, you are about fighting nepotism, well, then you are the right people. That's what Namibians are saying. And we will be angry on their behalf, we will be fighting on their behalf. When we have to smile, we will smile. But for this country, we have problems. We have problems. And these problems will not be removed if I start smiling or I start paying respect to people. We have been lied to. You look at Kawana's rubbish response on the fish rod thing. Rubbish, we'll still take him on. Rubbish. James saying, I mean, this is a guy that had money, that could eat all the nice food. But life in prison must be so good that he tweets about how nice the food is. Maybe the prison circumstances are also silly post-diabetic bags and some other nice things. Maybe they also get imported some cambrotos, maybe, I don't know. That is how they belittle this experiment called Namibia. It's our collective experiment. It's our collective heritage. And for too long have we allowed Swapo to mess up our heritage. It's our heritage. And whether I'm angry or not, I have a space in this country, both as a person and as a politician. I have space. They can go right and right and right, but doesn't matter. They have now a story in the Namibian, and I'm happy that we are now making front. You're always late. Yeah.